They say a tree doesn't choose what's buried beneath it, but in the heart of Kazinga City, where dust fights with perfume and innocence is currency, a tree grew from something unholy, but a haunting that dripped into every crack of the city as bones. The tree grew still, monstrous in its beauty, with leaves shaped like eyes and a trunk that pulsed like flesh. They said if you stood close enough, you could feel it breathe, as if it had lungs hidden deep beneath the rooftop, lungs that once belonged to a girl who never asked to become soil. But what truly terrified the city wasn't the tree, it was what began to grow around it. Flowers bloomed in shapes no one could name, vines twisted into words and languages forgotten by time, and then came the child. One rainy morning, a building guard named Badu, once a soldier, now a night watchman with a limp, found a baby lying at the base of the tree, wrapped in cloth that shimmered like oil. The child didn't cry. It only stared, wide-eyed and silent, its skin as dark as the tree's bark, with veins that glowed faintly gold in the rain. No one knew how it got there. No one claimed it. But the neighbors whispered Ao had returned not as herself, but as this child born from bark and blood. Badu, a widower with no kin, took the baby in. He named him Tano, which in his dialect meant fifth chance, and raised him in the building's basement, away from the rooftop, away from the thing that had once swallowed a girl. But Tano was not ordinary. By the time he turned 5, he spoke 6 languages he'd never learned. He walked barefoot, yet his feet never bruised. Plants bloomed wherever he sat. But at night, he wept not loudly, but with the kind of sobs that made light bulbs flicker and pets whimper. The tree above him thrived. Its roots now curled down into the walls, the plumbing, the wires. Some tenants moved out, leaving behind only strange stains and stories. Others stayed, hypnotized by the tree's beauty or too poor to leave. A preacher tried to exorcise it once. He climbed the stairs with a Bible in one hand and fire in the other. The fire never lit. His voice broke mid-prayer, and he ran down screaming. His hair turned white. Tano grew quieter as he aged, watching the world with ancient sadness. Badu said the boy spoke to shadows. One evening, when Tano turned 10, he disappeared for hours. When he returned, his eyes were rimmed with red, and he said, "She's still inside." No one needed to ask who. That night, lightning struck the rooftop, but instead of burning, the tree glowed, and for the first time in years, it bloomed violently, covering the entire terrace in white blossoms that fell like ash. Tano stood among them, arms open, whispering the same chant Mosi once spoke. From the base of the tree, the bark cracked. The scent of blood filled the air. Badu rushed forward, heart pounding like war drums, only to find a hollow where once there was solid wood, and in that hollow, a face, soft and sleeping. Ao. Her body was intact. Her skin glowed. Her chest rose and fell slowly, like someone dreaming beneath the earth. Tano placed his tiny hand on the trunk and said, "She is ready." But the tree disagreed. The rooftop trembled. Its branches thrashed like angry limbs, swatting at the sky. Roots shot out, grabbing Badu by the leg, pulling him toward the center. Tano screamed not in fear, but in command. "Let him go," he shouted, and the roots froze. They dropped Badu hard, cracking his shoulder. But he lived. And in that moment, Badu understood Tano wasn't just a boy. He was the balance, the price, the one who kept the curse from breaking loose. The next morning, the government arrived, men in suits, masks, gloves, carrying axes and machines. They said the building was condemned, unsafe, a hazard. But no one saw Tano again. The boy vanished like mist, and the tree, it was gone, not cut, not burned, just ... vanished. In its place was only a single flower, glowing faintly in the cracked rooftop floor, and beneath it, 2 footprints, one large, one small, pressed into the concrete like they'd never walked away. Some say Tano took Ayo's spirit and walked her home. Others believe the tree will grow again wherever pain is planted. But Beidou, old and bent now, still visits the empty rooftop. He places fresh bread and milk near the flower, lights a candle, and whispers into the wind, "She didn't die." She became something the city was never ready for. And on nights when the wind is quiet and the moon is full, the tenants swear they hear two voices in the air, one deep, one soft, laughing together like father and daughter beneath an invisible tree that still remembers everything. His name was Mosi, a man carved from ambition and dressed in wealth, the kind of man who wore silence better than suits. He was known across the high-rises for turning soil into symbols, planting exotic trees in places where concrete rained. But this time, he didn't want just any tree, he wanted one that would remember pain, bloom with secrets, and be fed not by rain, but by something pure, something no soil had tasted. Ao was 16, with skin like untouched dusk and eyes that hadn't yet learned to look away from shame. She sold hand-woven baskets on the edge of Old Kazinga Market, her fingers moving faster than the hunger that gnawed her belly. Her father, once a preacher, now just a shadow of prayers that went unanswered, had been approached by Mosi's driver. A deal was whispered. Not for marriage, not for adoption, for her virginity. In exchange, Mosi promised them a plot of land in the village and a year's worth of food. Her father hesitated just long enough for guilt to pass, but when Ao asked him why he was crying, he only said, "Sometimes love is a wound." That night, she was taken to Mosi's rooftop, a place that didn't smell like the city but like foreign soil and old incense. There was already a hole dug in the center of the garden waiting. Mosi didn't say much. He offered her tea with cloves, and when she trembled, he simply touched her shoulder like one might pat a stone before carving into it. What happened next was not violent. It was colder than that, mechanical, ritualistic. When it was over, he placed a folded cloth beneath her and took the blood-stained piece, whispering something in a language older than the buildings around them. Then he dropped it into the hole and placed the seed round, black, and veined with gold cracks right on top of it. He covered it with soil, poured goat milk on it, and lit 7 candles. Ao sat beside the tree all night, too hollow to cry, her fingers digging tiny moons into her palms. And then the tree began to grow. Within days, its roots cracked the concrete rooftop, its leaves turned from green to deep rust, and a strange scent, half incense, half something metallic, filled the air. Birds stopped flying over the building. The neighbors whispered about shadows in the windows and flowers blooming with teeth. Ao changed too. She stopped speaking. Her belly swelled, though she claimed no man touched her again. Her eyes went glassy, like she was listening to something beneath the earth. Mosi was obsessed. He hosted guests on the roof, offering wine as he pointed to the tree, calling it the womb of rebirth, the price of purity, the god root. But no one saw Ao, thin and silent, always near the trunk as if it breathed for her. Then came the dreams. Tenants in the building began waking in terror. A boy claimed he saw blood pouring from his closet. A woman dreamt of hands crawling out of the sink. Someone painted "She never sighed yes" in charcoal on the stairwell. The building's dogs howled every midnight, and the tree grew louder not in sound but in presence. Its leaves whispered names. Its sap turned red. One morning, Mosi's eyes were found bloodshot and wide open, his mouth filled with petals. He was alive but wouldn't speak, only rocked back and forth, muttering, "The roots are watching." That same day, Io vanished. No scream. No goodbye. Just gone. The police searched, but there was nothing, only her sandals beneath the tree, and the necklace she once wore, tangled in the branches like it had been eaten. Some say she ran. Others swear they saw the bark move, split open, and her face sleeping inside, eyes closed like she finally found peace. Mosi was taken to a mental institution, his fingers stained with soil he refused to wash off, and the tree? It still stands, taller than ever, its roots now cracking the neighboring walls. No gardener dares trim it. Every full moon, white blossoms fall from it soft, ghostly, and cold to the touch. Those who smell them say they hear a girl's laugh, distant and broken. A sign was placed near the rooftop gate. Do not enter private property. But the city knows. Kizinga remembers. And whenever someone asks about the tree that bleeds and sings, old women cross themselves and say, that's what happens when you buy something that should never be sold. Some stories in Kizinga do not end. They rot slowly, like fruit beneath a cursed tree. And what remained after Ao vanished was not silence.